because if you wake up overnight and what has happened is that your loved ones have died, and in this case they have died in garbage, it's one thing that I think about the children that have lost their parents. I think about the husband has lost a wife and children. I think about the parents that have lost their children. It's traumatizing, and I'm sure there's a lot that needs to be done in terms of making sure that these people are prepared to face the world without their loved ones. So yes, you can still step out and see how you can support some of these people to come out of these situations. Now, coming to Uganda's trade policies. Uganda's trade policies have been set over time because they have been pushed to make sure that they target economic growth, and also they are policies that are supporting diversification of the economy. Now, among some of the things that you learn from the Uganda trade policies, that liberalization. You realize that some of our policies have taken that direction. The other thing I think that has been outstanding among our policies in Uganda is integration, especially regional integration. It's where you have seen the president emphasize the issue of the East African community. This integration is not just political. Well, it is political, but I think majorly it has been about enforcing trade, enlarging the market, the East African market, tapping into the market of the neighboring countries, and looking at how we can have a bigger platform to exchange and expand our businesses. This has also been said. You remember yesterday I was giving you updates of how the president was still speaking to people in Bukedea when he called upon East Africans to make sure that if we have to get richer, then we have to work together. And our policies run around that regional integration. The efforts of seeing the president, in good terms with South Sudan, building relations with Congo. A few months ago, I think if not a year, there was a plan to construct roads that go into Congo. All these efforts, some of those things in our trade policies that have to see Uganda expand its market to the neighboring countries. You have seen in the efforts of the regional integration still, you have seen Uganda in serious talks every time when there has been a bit of hiccup between Uganda and Kenya. So yes, our trade policies have really focused on regional integration. The regional integration has also seen the East African community grow into a number of countries. We were Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, but now Rwanda is on board. You have seen, Somalia is now on board, and South Sudan is on board, and we are pushing and pushing. And these are some of the things that you could note in our trade policies. And of course, we are trying to see how we can enforce free trade among these countries. We are a rich region, and of course Uganda is a rich country in terms of resources, whether human or natural resources, and the regional integration is focusing on that part of making sure that we push on and on. We are also, in our trade policies, we're also an export-led growth. We depend on other markets as well. That you're looking at how many agriculture products are taken to Kenya, milk, food, maize, and other things are exported to Kenya. And of course, we also import. from other countries. So we also encourage other countries to export to our country because we have a market that can consume a number of the products that are produced from different countries. So yes, we're an export-led country, and export business is also one of the things that Uganda business people have focused on to see how they can tap into other markets. So it's actually a major thing over time that has been growing. You have seen the president emphasize on value addition, and this is one of the things that is enforced to make sure that export business is up to standard. We have seen value addition on agriculture products. Our milk, there's now value addition. Coffee, there's now value addition. Way back, coffee was always exported as a raw material. Then we could consume it as a final product. For those that don't understand value addition, it's having the raw products and modify them, process them into finished consumable goods. So if you are looking at maize, you're not only exporting the maize, you're exporting the maize flour, which is final for consumption. And then milk, you're processing milk into powder, so that when it reaches there, someone is just ready to consume it. Coffee is now, into coffee powder, into consumable coffee, not coffee beans. So value addition has been one of the things that the government has been emphasizing. For my people in Eastern Uganda, those that are growing rice, value addition has been enforced through making sure that the rice that is either coming from Butaleja or Bugwere, Budaka, is processed to the standard. Way back, the rice was always sold with stones in, but now the government has emphasized on issues of technology, making sure that the machines that are used to process this rice sorts it out, that when it reaches the final consumer, it is just cooked. So value addition has also been emphasized in our trade policies to make sure that if it's export, our products meet the standard. It's one of the things that are very key in Uganda's trade policies. And of course, you're looking at diversification, efforts being made to diversify Uganda's economy, Uganda's export base, reducing dependency on traditional exports like coffee and cotton. Also, investment promotions. This has been seen by how the government has taken a step to open up industrial parks. Talk about Namamve, there's an industrial park in Bale, I think Barara also has, and a number of these parks are, coming up. This is intended to make sure that we promote investment, we attract investors, create an atmosphere of showing investors that, you have a platform here, there's a need here. And of course, this also in the way that Uganda is, Ugandans and the government are supporting conventions, international conventions. You have seen conventions in Canada, you have seen conventions in the US, you've seen conventions in the UK of Ugandan investors who attract other investors from those countries to sit down and explore what opportunities are in Uganda that they can come and participate in. And also this investment promotion is not only for foreign investors, but there are people even in the country that have their good money that they can invest. So investment promotions tend to open a platform and open Ugandan eyes to see where they can put their money. So agriculture, there are agriculture shows. Now, when you go to these agriculture shows, you're going to learn so many things, areas that have gaps. It's either in, in production, it's either in, direct agriculture in the farm. So agriculture, investment promotions are it's another way that trade policies in Uganda have gone on to make sure that our trade is strengthened and our economy is growing at that rate. One of the things that you can talk about in promotion of investment, look at some of the international conferences that have happened in Uganda. In 2007, we had CHOGM. That created a lot of opportunities and highlighted the opportunities in Uganda, including tourism. You know, when people come in the country, investors see some of these opportunities and they come on board and make sure that they invest. And recently this year, we had the NAM conference that happened at Spec Resort Munyonyo. We had lots of people from different countries. This is also another way of promoting investment in Uganda, because investors cite opportunities, and also there are incentives. There are incentives that are given to investors, tax holidays, to make sure that investors have an opportunity to grow and feel comfortable. And one of the key things in Uganda that you can also talk about is emphasis on security, political stability. That has been one of the key things for the government to make sure that, to make sure that people are living peacefully and they are able to invest anywhere in the country. Of course, there have been a few hiccups, but in our policies, trade policies, one of the things that we put forward as a country is political stability. It has created a conducive environment to make sure that investors are confident in making sure that they come and invest in the country. Industrialization has been one of those things that have been emphasized, especially in the recent years, and also in the wake of areas like Namamve Industrial Park. You have realized that promotion of industrialization is so much emphasized. If you go to Namamve right now, industrialization is one of the things that is under a serious revolution. There are so many things that are being produced in that area that actually Ugandans are not even aware about. Talk about beverages. There are so many other factories. If you go to the different supermarkets right now, you're going to realize that the juices that are being made within Uganda are so many. And from where? Just our industries within Uganda. Say Namamve. I don't know how many companies are producing water, how many companies are producing juice, how many companies are producing carbonated drinks like soda, way back it was about Pepsi and Coca-Cola, but now there's so many other companies that are producing that. I've seen a company that is producing plates, very good plates, but way back some of these things you would find made in China, made in Kenya. Now you will find made in Uganda, and they are very good plates. We are looking at car assembling that is happening. We are looking at production of our car. The other day we were in Jinja at Chira Motors for the exhibition, while Chira Motors was exhibiting and showcasing the Uganda-made vehicles that are on the market. And yes, you can drive a Uganda-made vehicle. So yes, industrialization is one of the things that our policies have emphasized on. They create employment opportunities, but also they are focusing on making sure that the economy now is dependent when it comes to things that we are producing locally. We'll go into a short commercial break. When we return, Smart Means Business is still here. And of course, today we are focusing on trade policies and economic growth in Uganda. Stay tuned for more on Smart Means Business. This is Smart 24 TV. My name is Noah Wapera. I'll return.
Smart 24, driving business.
My name is Chomugisa Teddy from Chikube district. I'm a businesswoman in fashion and design. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. From what I know before I came, it was making gomez, trousers, dresses in Bitengi, and some shirts in Bitengi for men. Been here for 1 month, but I've learned how to stitch a trouser with a behind pocket. I've learned a long sleeve shirt with a placket. I've learned how to use a button machine on shirts. There's a button machine we use. You place the button machine, you put the buttons on your shirt. I've learned how to use a baby lock machine. When I go back to Chikube, first and foremost, I know now, since I have knowledge, I will have to extend my business. The message to Grow Project is to support us as women, because not only me, not only who is there down, others are being left there. I want all of us to be lifted at a go as women in my district of Chikube. Again, the project of Grow continues supporting us. As I have told you, that fashion and design is wide. We need more trainings. And we need these machines of electronic machines, because they're very expensive. We cannot afford to buy them. The cutter, the rotary cutter, the baby lock, that one of stitching, we cannot afford, because one machine almost it is on 2 million. Whereby, like me, with my small business, I cannot afford to buy that machine. So we are requesting the project of Grow and other stakeholders to assist us and buy for us those machines.
Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
Banange mwebale okuwagira Uganda Cranes nga nambonezebwa okugulawo emiryango gye. Mwebale kwambala langi zaffe n'emijoozi gyaffe mu ssanyu. Muyiwawo omubiri wadde tuwangudde ne bwe tuba tukubiddwa eddiba. Kati nno Uganda Cranes nga yeetegekera okwambalagana ne South Africa gattako ne Congo mu Septemba ono, ate yo South Sudan yakwambalagana nayo mu October. Olwo baddiŋŋane ne South Africa ne Congo mu November. Ogwamu eki kuleeta fire. Anti awali obuwagizi bwammwe Uganda Cranes tewali kigirema. Uganda fire! Bikutuusiddwako MTN, omuwagizi wa Uganda Cranes namba emu. Nga tuli wamu tewali kitulema.
75 days since the last day of last season. We are ready to do it all again.
Phil Foden is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Get all the football on DStv Compact for only 110,000 shillings per month.
Is my joy. Ono bulu majiki wange. Ayo Salaba kumabala atukuza nonyirira okirako enyange. Tayisa bubi fabriki kyonna kyekiri kigwa lwa bulu majiki. Bulu majiki is my choice. Ono bulu majiki wange. Blue magic is my choice. Hey, oh no, blue magic, yeah, wange.
Smart 24, driving business.
Yes, right there. Still a brilliant morning. Lots of things that are happening in the country. We are at Smart Mint Business, and we are discussing trade policies and economic growth. When you talk about trade policies in Uganda, it's one of the things that I think our policies have transformed the country over time. Maybe at a slow pace according to others, but we have seen a lot that is happening that we can be proud of over time. Now, let's get into a press release, a press review. We see some of the stories that have been taking place. Daily Monitor is very political today. We are talking about FDC that sees blue in plot to dissolve party. We have reached this level at FDC, the mighty FDC, for years, party that shook up the government and almost had a chance to step into State House, now faces possibilities of being resolved. That is not very nice. One Uganda, different interests. The party headquarters in Ajanakumbi argues that Katonga faction, which runs no rule over the secretariat, lacks locus to dissolve the party and questions the authenticity of the delegates and the legitimacy of yesterday's National Delegates Conference amidst unmet quorum. FDC sees blues in a plot to dissolve party. That is what is on the front page of the Daily Monitor. And they are giving you a little bit of the history here. 2001, Besigye runs on reform agenda ticket. And 2005 to 2012, Kanukiza Besigye was first party president. 2012, 2017, Major General Mugisha Muntu succeeded Besigye before he left in 2018. There comes, you know, the new man. That's 2017 to date. Patrick Oboy Amriat replaced Muntu as party president in 2017. The question here is why Splinter could realign 2016 political landscape. You can get all these details in the Daily Monitor. And also one of the stories that you're going to find in the Daily Monitor is Dr. Kiduma Kubia. It's quite a very prominent name in Uganda, a brilliant career that ended in controversy. You can get some of those stories in the Daily Monitor. Mayega recalled from UAE over gambling machines. Oh God! So the government insists the officials have been recalled to assist with the ongoing investigation and not expelled. So you know the story earlier this month of people that had turned the embassy consulate in UAE into a gambling area. So yes, one find out what's up. Oh, Uganda. And yeah, so you can get some of this story. The State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Oriem Okello Oriem, has confirmed that Uganda's Consul General to the United Arab Emirates, Henry Mayega, and other consulate officials have been recalled on allegations of operating gambling machines at Uganda's consulate in a building in Dubai. Why would you get gambling machines into such an honorable house? Is this why we are having lack of diplomatic efforts in different countries? I mean, Ugandans over the years have been dying like Okufa in the UAE. We have had reports. We can retrieve these reports. We can read about them, of Ugandans that have died there. That, you know, when such scenarios happen, usually we depend on our diplomats to make sure that Ugandans are protected. They have to strengthen relations. They have to follow up. They have to make sure that Ugandans are respected. And our brand as Uganda is outstanding. They have to make sure that the interests of Uganda and Ugandans are respected and protected, that the lives of Ugandans matter out there. They have to represent the country and represent the interests of the president. Yes, the diplomats have to be operating in a consulate, not gamblers. Now, this is a story that is very disturbing. I do not know if you have gotten to understand the gravity and how serious this is, but it's showing that the interests of the people that we send to represent us, that the president has trusted to represent us outside there in other countries, have their own interests. So I think, to me, this is where I have to request that the government gets into investigating basically all these consulates. What are they doing? Apart, because we're seeing less of the efforts, considering how long it has taken for us to strengthen bilateral relations in the Middle East, in Qatar, and one of either Qatar or one of those countries where we have actually one single attaché in a consulate. So yes, a lot has to be questioned here. But yes, you can get that story, how it's going down. Mayega recalled from UAE over gambling machines. And key suspect in Ndiga clan leaders murder arrested. Yes, this is very good. The man that was shot, I think that was in Atete. That was Daniel Bosa. The suspects have been arrested. Very good efforts there by the security forces. And Dr. Kidu Makubuya, a brilliant career that ended in controversy. You can get to read what Norbert Mao, Haj Abdul Naduli, and all that, that some of the things that they have, attached to this story. Makubuya had distinguished 3-decade service. 3 decades, that's quite some time serving the government. And Besigye team resolve to dissolve FDC party. This is going to be quite a long conversation this month. But yeah, you can get to read some of the facts, the trends, and everything that has been happening around FDC, timeline of the major events leading to FDC splinter group. And you can get to see some of those. A man told you there will be no single opposition in Uganda. I don't know if this dissolving is what it's taking us to. But yeah, one of the things that I know is that FDC has some of the strong men that we know in this country. And of course, Besigye has been a force to reckon with. There's a Council Elias Lukwago there, who is the acting president at the moment. Is he ready for the shoes? Can he push this? And FDC's faction could realign 2026 political landscape. Let's see how this goes. It's another movie to watch. We are in the first episodes of season 1 of this series. Which way for Katonga FDC block as Teso actually dragged feet? That was expected because now in Teso is where Oboy Amriat is hailing from. Apart from Acholi has quite some strongholds there. We know of my friend here, Onekalit Dennis, Honorable. I think one of those. Buganda has not mentioned among those that are dragging feet. I think we still have they still have quite a lot of strongholds around, the likes of Semo Junganda and so many others. District leaders, locals, welcome FDC reshuffle. Here we have Mike Segawa has been retained as Mukono Deputy RS. District leaders, locals, welcome RDC reshuffles. Let FDC not take the lead in the conversation right now. RDC reshuffles. So you're going to get the list of people that have been appointed by the president, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and these are the RDC. Some have been retained. Some, I think there are some new faces. Hud Hussein has been retained as Masaka RCC. And Mike Segawa has been retained as Mukono Deputy RCC. Godfrey Nyakahuma has been retained as Kabali RDC. So yes, you can get the list of those. If your friend has also been among those, you can get to see some of those. Clergy list, 5 proposals to help Kitezi survivors. There's a photo here. You can see my friend Wamala Cliff, who is, I think, the communications officer of Red Cross. Standing with the clergies, this is the Reverend, His Grace Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, the chairperson of the Interreligious Council of Uganda and the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, hands over food donations from IRCU, Interreligious Council of Uganda, to people who were displaced by the garbage slides in Kitezi, Wakiso, after prayers were made. And Imran Khan applies for Oxford University Chancellor. Interesting. That's quite an interesting output here. Mr. Imran Khan studied philosophy, politics, and economics at Oxford. And he has applied for Oxford Chancellor. I think that would be interesting. And the UK of late is quite very neutral when it comes to leaders. We've seen an Indian who is a UK, but of Indian origin. Previously was the Prime Minister. He did an amazing job there. And government identifies free land for investors. More investors. We need business running in Uganda. And Katanga murder trial resumes today. Yes, that's what you can find in the Daily Monitor there for you. Lots of story, and of course FDC, chapters. I know they can call them chapters, but from the camps, Katonga, Najana Nkumbi, at loggerheads. And in the new vision, what is leading here, is this the end of FDC? A question has been asked there. Ndiga clan leader, murder suspect arrested. And President Museveni MPs failed to agree on merger of coffee agents. UNRA must go, says Museveni. You can get those details in here. And UNRA must go. What next after UNRA? How finance disbursed? 2023-2024 budget cash. And you have faces put to the names of the districts as the district get new RDCs, RCCs, deputies. So you can see the names that have been fronted, and of course their faces put to it. Amina Lukanga, RDC Mbarara. There's Hoima Joshua Masereka, Jen Muhindo, RCC Kampala, and Edwin Benessa, RCC Nakawa Division. There's a deputy for Bwikwe, Lydia Nakalema. Points of interest here. Mbale, there's George William, Wapua, and of course so many of them here, the faces that I'm familiar with here. I don't seem to see them. Charles Luanga, Nansana. Nansana has a lot of work that has to be done. So you can get all those details in the new vision. And of course, President Museveni reshuffles RDCs. UNRA must go, says President Museveni. The details here. President Museveni legislators fail to agree on UCDA merger. Those are the details in the new vision. And of course, a list of RDCs and RCCs that have been, reappointed and appointed. Diligently, First Lady urges Christian clerics. This is a very important message. We have seen our clerics asking for cars in public, Well, it's okay to ask for a car publicly, but is that the best message you can come with in public and ask for a car? I'm not criticizing, I'm just mentioning. It's an opinion. Is this the end of FDC? New Vision gives you quite a very long detail of why this question, is it the end? Is there a future for FDC. Chinese farm boosts Uganda's climate change response. That's a very interesting headline there. And you can get all those details in the new vision. The fate of the envoy and staff is pending an investigation. Uganda recalls UAE envoy staff. And of course, the new vision also has brought you this story of the alleged gamblers in a consulate, a diplomatic house, an honorable house, a house that is supposed to represent Uganda in a different, very organized brand. The house that is supposed to sell our interests to the outside world. I mean, instead of spending time gambling, they should be promoting our tourism. They should be focusing on our culture. They should be looking out for Ugandans that have gone through, different issues. They should be finding information about Ugandans who have been suffering in the UAE and getting clear information of how best we can strengthen our bilateral relations with the UAE. And remember, this country is a country that this region actually is a region that has developed so fast. They have broken through. Amidst them being in the desert, amidst them having limited resources, well, they have other resources, but when it comes to the resources like the ones that we have, the UAE has proven resilience in their way of development. And I would be thinking, oh yes, for consulate, let's see how best we can learn from these people. In the past decades, how have they managed to pull this off to the level of world's leading trade centers and business centers and leading economic growth, So instead of, gambling, they should be looking out for that. Are we having wrong people in these positions? A lot of questions that have to be raised when you look at, as a student of diplomacy, I'm offended that a diplomat would use the consulate to pile up gambling machines and planning for gambling. It's a shame, a serious shame. Religious leaders blame government for Chitezi tragedy. Okay. There we are. I don't know if that needs an opinion from me, but yes, you can get this story in the new vision. Religious leaders blame government for Chitezi tragedy. That story is right here. Professor Kidu Makubia's candle burns out. Yes, you can also get that story and see a man that served his country throughout over 3 decades, diligently and faithfully, and of course, in so many ways, we fall short of different things. To reduce conflicts, land should be registered and the owner known. Yeah. If you look for the owners of land in Uganda, we need to know them, but we need to know them. We need to know people who are owning bigger than our others in Kampala here, and other areas, other parts of the country. So yes, experts explain why land conflicts have persisted. And the suggestion here, to reduce land conflicts, land should be registered and the owner known. We need to know the owners of land. Yes, we need to know the owners of land in this country. That's an article here that you can find in the New Vision. Financial Intelligence Authority warns on fake investors. This is serious. This is very serious. And yes, you can get that detail in the New Vision and see how fake investors are getting exposed by the FIA, Financial Intelligence Authority. And of course, when you talk about intelligence authority, you know that the president is aware of this because he's the biggest consumer of intelligence. So if you are an investor and you're fake, know one thing, your days are numbered and it's not going to be very good. But also Ugandans should be cautious. Those that are lobbying to make sure that they bring in investors, those that are making sure that Uganda gets more businesses coming in, you should be very cautious. Sometimes I look at a number of foreigners who are coming into the country from China, from different other parts from India, and some of them are claiming to be investors. And the stories come out, some of them are actually doing very shoddy work in different ways. First of all, this is not their country. For some of them who are not fully scrutinized and, you know, take a look into their background, we can have wrong elements who can do things in a wrong way. Before we know it, we are facing a lot of catastrophes, especially people who are into mining. Now, we've talked about sand mining that has been happening. People ended up digging deeper, a lot of it. So sparingly, our country has to be used in terms of investors that are coming in. Uganda, leading pork producer in Africa. Shakira, apologies, but yes, Uganda is leading pork producer in Africa. These human beings can do a lot of this animal, but yes, if you know very well that pork is one of those businesses that have benefited so many Ugandans. We have even seen some, you know, the other side of the religions also step into making sure that they invest into the pork business. Clarice should support policy formulation. That is an interesting one. And I think they can do an amazing job if they diligently chose to do it. Fire government officials who sell jobs. This should happen now. Why not? Fire government officials who sell jobs. Why do you sell jobs? Jobs are not for selling. They are meant to be given on merit. You, government official at the district, at the city council, and in public services, in different ministries, jobs are meant to be given on merit. Fire government officials who sell jobs. That is Mary Karoro Okrut, who has said that statement. And yes, you can get this detail in the New Vision, as we also emphasize that clerics should support policy formulation. Very interesting articles here, and you can find all those details in the New Vision. And for now, I'll step into a short commercial break. Smart means business returns after that. And this is Smart 24 TV, driving business. My name is Noah Wapera. Stay tuned.
Smart 24, driving business.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Phone battery full.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Kabode Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Kabode deal this Christmas and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Kabode Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN. Regulated by UCC.
We all have that friend, always by your side for the big moments. Alina drama munji. And sometimes akuteka kupressure. But it's always there to celebrate your wins. Where would we be without our BFF?
This season, enjoy the best football moments with your hashtag BFFGoTV. Get GoTV today to enjoy all the best football live on SuperSport. GoTV Uganda. Love it.
My name is Victoria Topista. I'm from Terego district. I'm a mother of one child, baby girl, and she's in baby class. I deal in salon business, and most of my customers are from the camp, refugee camp, and the host communities. The business has taken 3 years. I got to know about Grow when they were doing their launching in Arua, West Nile. So they invited me to attend a meeting at Moon University. I reached here and the training started so marvelous. The new things that I picked in the training, there are so many new skills that they taught us. They took us through different kinds of hairstyles, how to plant hair. Those days I used to plant it anyhowly, and styling was a problem to me. But this time I'm able to plant different kinds of hair styles and also making the designs. Coming to the equipment, basically I didn't even know more about this equipment, the hair dryers. I myself, I don't have it in my salon, but reaching here, I was able to see hair dryers in salon, and I was able to operate. I'd like to thank the government, more especially the Ministry for Gender, Labor and Social Development, for giving us this support. The Grow project has actually helped us a lot, and we're here to benefit more. It has opened for us more ways. And my message to the people in the community there is, let them be active in whatsoever activities they are doing. They should not lose hope. Sky is the limit.
Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
MTN ekutusaku papa patetua musonga. Kaganga satunu mwezi guno gwa munana jangu kudams water kuragibe Browns tunyumirwa ngokuyingira jinja kube emitwalo ebiri naye ticket wogigulira ku MTN Momo ogifuna ku mutwalo gumu ye ya VIP ya mitwalo 3 kati nonyiga *165*2 noti hash oba kozesa Momo app wegulire ticket yo ku MTN Momo ku bei rahisi tosubwa abayimbi bonna ab'e Kampala n'ab'e Busoga papapatene tegekeddwa Douglas Rwanga ne kutusibwako MTN.
Together, we're unstoppable.
Smart 24, driving business.
And yes, welcome back to Smart Means Business. We are still on a number of Ugandan trade policies that we discussed today, but also we had the press review there. Lots of stories that have been happening from the newly appointed RCCs, RDCs, and of course deputies. Quite a number of people there. But yes, I think one thing is over the years have been stories of coming from this position. We pray that you commit yourself to serving the president's interests and the interests of Ugandans as, as you have been directed. These offices are public offices, and these offices have been given to you as custodians. You don't own them, because even those that were there are not there anymore. It's just a reminder to the RDCs and RCCs and deputies to make sure that as you get into those offices, keep that integrity, knowing that tomorrow you step out and someone else is going to be in. So let your legacy be very, very inspiring when you leave that office. I hope you're well. 8 minutes. And we are in that session. Before we step into entertainment news, let's go into the business quote today. When we return, we shall have more. That was very refreshing. I feel inspired already. Sometimes starting is one of the hardest things in life, because when you're starting is when every form of fear comes in. Fear to fail, fear for rejection, fear for criticism, fear for, for the challenges that are ahead. Starting is always very, very hard. It's always very scary and traumatizing sometimes. But yeah, he says, if I had to fear to start, if I had to be worried to start, then, he wouldn't have started. That Ken Njoroge there. And business, that's why entrepreneurs are called risk takers, because you have to keep in mind that there's a possibility of failing, but you're going to do it anyway. There's a possibility that I might lose money, but you have to do it anyway. So, of course, calculatively, you have to make sure that you have your anticipations, you have your goals, you have your objectives set, but you should know failing is a possibility. But if you fear to fail, then you can never start. So you start, and that's how successful people many times get to win. Because many times when you worry, it's also a good thing. You are more cautious with your decisions. When you worry, sometimes it helps you. When you fear, sometimes it helps you, because you become more cautious in your mind. It helps you also to avoid some mistakes, because you are awake in your mind that failure is also at the corner to hit me hard. So yeah, that is the quote today. And for the business people out there, entrepreneurs, likely entrepreneurs, those who are planning to get into business, don't just focus on worrying and fearing to start. Get started and see. You can never know how deeper the water is unless you have, try to see. Of course, you don't put all your feet and your body, you will drown. Especially now, like at Lake Wunyonyi, you just go. So yeah, try to see how you make sure that you test the ground carefully. And we have Karibu East Africa, what is happening around the region. I'll start with Southern Sudan. Very interesting story here of South Sudan that is enforcing new cargo tracking. Yep, it's high time they did, because South Sudan it's the youngest country in the world, and they have also gone through quite a lot of challenges politically. I think they still have quite conflicts in the country, and the government is trying to work so hard to see how South Sudan picks up and grows. So at the moment, it's mandatory to have a seal for South Sudan cargo. And the South Sudan says exports of cargo into or out of its territory must tag it with special seals. It will provide overriding a court challenge mounted by the traders to oppose the move. The new directive came 5 months after Kenya clearing and forwarding agents moved to court to compel South Sudan authorities to suspend introduction of a second cargo tracking seal. Now Juba has directed East African countries to comply with immediate effect. In a notice issued on August 13th, Dr. Daniel Kohn Ater, the South African Revenue Authority Commissioner for Corporate Services, informed all stakeholders in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania to tag goods destined to their country alongside the requisite electronic cargo tracking note. And yes, there we are. Any authority, by the time they implement something, they have thought about it. Sometimes it may not be, it may be good, sometimes it may be hard, sometimes it may affect. But yes, at the end of the day, the sovereignty of Sudan has to be respected, even by the traders who are taking goods to South Sudan. And here I say, okay, all the taxpayers, clearing and forwarding agents and transporters, including non-government organizations involved in moving cargo destined to and from Sudan, South Sudan, should attach South Sudan regional recognized electronic cargo tracking seal. We are asking all involved in cargo handling for both dry and wet ports, transit, cargo destined to and from South Sudan to comply. Failure to do so will result in a fine at the border entry points by the South Sudan Authority Division Office, said Dr. Ater. And yes, that is from South Sudan. So if you are a trader and you take cargo to South Sudan, you have to make sure that this cargo seal, tracking seal, is on it for you to be able to do business there. Respect authority and don't get into trouble. And also, in addition to this story, in March this year, South Sudan introduced its tags on top of those offered by the regional electronic cargo tracking at a cost of $350 per consignment. It caused protest among stakeholders and the Kenya clearing and forwarding agents to move to court. However, the High Court sitting in Mombasa declined to stop the authority from implementing the order. This week, Kenya International Freight and Warehouse Association Chairman Roy Mwanthi said, we negotiated for collection of the funds and Nimole instead of Mombasa. It was a relief to clearing and forwarding agents. Juba argues that this seal helps to monitor how cargo is moved, as it gives the authorities quick and clear details about what the cargo is and how much it's worth and its destination, thus helping to stop illegal activities like underreporting the value of goods and smuggling. So now you see the objective. Underreporting, you know, somebody has brought much, is declaring, you know, this is what he has brought. And at the end of the day, it's a country that loses revenue, tax collected on some of this cargo that's going into the country. And of course, smuggling. Smuggling affects an economy because it means the country is losing a lot of revenue collected. Kenya clearing and forwarding agents had blamed the introduction of the ECTN or delay, for delay of cargo clearance. They were often required to pay ECTN fees alongside clearance charges, but they also protested the payment of $350 to private firm appointed by SSRA for the seals. So yes, court can try to work on that, but also this money is quite cumbersome. $350 for traders. I hope this doesn't affect business in South Sudan. But yeah, one thing I know is that South Sudan is a big market, and we need it. Uganda needs it, Tanzania needs it, Kenya needs it. because of the virgin market that is there. Remember, they are also just trying to build on getting into industrialization, boosting their agriculture. They're still building their education system, the health system. So a lot of things are in need, and it's an opportunity for the East African countries, and they definitely need Sudan. So some of these terms and regulations could be a good opportunity to make sure that business does not go in a wrong direction, and then we lose that. Let's go into the international news. Ghana seeks $500 million cocoa industry loan. Ghana is one of those countries that produce cocoa. Many call it cocoa, but yes, they produce it in quite some amount. So Ghana is in talks with cocoa traders to secure $500 million loan to support its industry operations. Ghana is in talks with the cocoa traders, and of course, the operations as delays in finalizing its annual syndicated loan from regular lenders persist due to uncertainties over crop yields. And the Ghana Cocoa Board, the industry regulator, is negotiating with major lenders, major bin lenders in Olam Group Limited and Barry Callebaut AG to raise at least 1/3 of the $1.5 billion It aims to borrow, according to the sources familiar with the situation. And the funds will act as a temporary solution while Ghana continues discussions with the banks ahead of the new season starting in October, according to the sources close to the matter. That's from Ghana. That's quite some good money there. But I think Ghana is one of those countries that have been committed to economic growth. The economy is way ahead. It's growing very fast, but also they remain with some challenges here and there. A spokesperson from Barry Callebaut and Olam and Fifi Baofa declined to provide a comment. These are spokespersons from the different stakeholders that are involved in this. They failed to provide a comment. This is in the second consecutive season that Ghana, the world's second largest cocoa producer, has sought funding from cocoa dealers instead of securing its annual syndicated loan on time. That is in our international news. And the board relies on its facility to cover costs for seedlings, chemicals, fertilizers, and bean purchases from farmers, while the foreign exchange supports the central bank in stabilizing the national currency. Yes, that is from Ghana, what is happening that side. And typically, Cocoa Board secures the syndicated loan in September, right before the season kicks off. However, last year's debt restructuring complicated negotiations, pushing the loan approval to December. This delay forced Ghana to borrow $400 million from cocoa traders in November, and an additional $200 million in March, after lenders withheld the final $800 million tranche. And yes, Ghana, I hope they get this money, because African countries are quite hungry for some of these investments. And the fact that it's being invested in agriculture, and also industrializing, that's very, very good. That's a good move. The bank's hesitation stemmed from concerns about Ghana's cocoa revenues due to a drop in output, which has contributed to a global cocoa shortage for the third consecutive year. Imagine having that power that, when we don't produce rice, there's going to be a shortage. It means there's demand. What happens when the demand is high? Yes, the prices get higher. And, moderately, in a design, keep on increasing the supply, make some good money. So yes, we can see the pressure that Ghana is facing right now because of its limited supply. You know, there was a shortage, global shortage, by the way, for you to understand it very well. Unfavorable weather, disease, and shortage of fertilizers have been harvested in Ghana. The country's production fell from 683,000 tons in 2021 to 2022 to 654,000 tons in 2022 to 2023, with a projected decline to 500. Now that's quite huge. From a production of 680,000, you drop to 510,000 and 1,000. That's a very big blow. And that's by September's end, according to International Cocoa Organization's data. So yes, I think there can be, the pressure can be seen and can be felt why they need to have this money to boost the cocoa production. Additionally, Ghana has around 250,000 tons forward sales contracts yet to be fulfilled, some of which have been defended from the past 3 years. I think there are people in Uganda who also grow cocoa. So there is a gap. Ghana is struggling to meet the demand. We can get some of that business and support the global demand for cocoa. Agriculture credit access remains limited in Africa. That is in the other story. So of course, that is what is happening across the international community. A story from Ghana fighting to see how they can meet the demand for cocoa. It's like how you wake up and Uganda ceases to supply coffee, you know? Because we're some of the top suppliers of coffee, some of the big suppliers of coffee that are known. So yes, you can imagine the pressure that is on Ghana right now. Now in this story, in this other story, agriculture credit access remains limited in Africa. High cost risks hamper agriculture loans. That's quite challenges here. Despite frequent promises to develop agriculture and promote farmers' interests in Africa, the share of crediting going to the sector remains small, mostly owing to the factors outside of it. Agriculture, like we have started from high school, actually from primary. Agriculture is the backbone, you know, of our economy. But unfortunately, many times when you look at how much is allocated to agriculture, it's very mean of us, it's very selfish of us not to consider that actually agriculture is as important as many things that we spend our money on. For one, lenders have found it profitable to focus on other areas, and authorities across the continent have been tinkering with the interest rate controls without success, making it expensive for farmers to borrow, whereas some commercial banks maintain agriculture credit portfolios. Somehow these funds are diverted to other competing areas. Sources say, why wouldn't agriculture be competing? That's a question. It can be from marketing, it can be from priorities of the farmers, because I think one of the things that I've noticed in agriculture is that sometimes farmers tend to move with what has been said is on demand, and they phase out certain things. There's so many other factors that run around agriculture, but also now, like for Uganda, we are still, you know, doing a lot of subsistence farming. But people need to get to a bigger picture in this sector. Although talk to introduction of interest rate control often include promises of lower lending rates, widening spreads noticed between official interest rates in Kenya in 2026 and 2016 and actual rates charged in the agricultural sector triggered higher credit costs on account of heavy default risks associated with farming. So also some of those risks in farming, weather conditions become very challenging. Of late in East Africa, there are quite unpredicted droughts that come, and also certain unfair rainfalls that come with hailstones. So agriculture has its own risks, and of course, if you plan to get there, you also have to make sure that you understand the risks. But yes, that's a story that's coming out from there, from Ghana, from Sudan, and that is on Smart Means Business. And for now, we would like to end this. We wait for the entertainment news that's going to be coming in a short time. I will say thank you for being part of the show. Smart 24 TV continues. More programs in the course of the day. There's going to be UG Tukole. There's also going to be financial markets. And of course, later on, there's going to be Agafa Mugwanga. Agafa Muvyobusubuzi. That's our news at 7 p.m. Stay tuned. Have a wonderful day and keep safe.